Okay, folks, this is hilarious. Not just the fact that there's people beaming in on me here, but do you see that door? Look at this. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Train Sim World, where we're going to be driving the 1B35 London Paddington to Swansea. This actually has the exact same AP score as the previous mission, 8600. And in particular, we had precipitation somehow in the last mission. We just saw nothing. This one just says it's wet. That's all it says. So we're going to get right into this and see what happens. All right, folks, we are driving yet another HST. We are currently starting actually in London Paddington yet again, and we're going to Reading yet again, which means we're going to freak out yet again. But this time we're going to turn on our headlights to day headlight lamps and markers. I saw the train moving. I'm like, I'm moving already. Here is our cap lights in case anyone wants to know where that's at. I love turning on the little train button right here just to turn on the train supply brightness just a little bit. It does help for me. The spare is going to go on because the spare has no use. We're going to turn on the gauge dimmer, which I forgot to turn on last time. We're going to turn on AWS isolation and DSD isolation, and turn on the master key to unlock, and then put the reverser to forward. Press Q to just get rid of that annoying tone, and then go ahead and release our brakes and set our throttle to 3. And while our brakes are releasing, reminder again, you have to wait for this to get to 5.1 in the air brake pipe, and then we have to wait for the bogies here to go down to 0 before we can even move forward. The train will move forward. In the meantime, we contact the Singler, and the Singler says it is okay to proceed as indicated. This essentially is literally like the same mission that we did previously. The only difference is that it's in the middle of the day instead of early morning. If we just go outside for a second, you can kind of see the sun is out, is nice and bright today, and we probably could just get away with turning off the cab light, all for better visibility, because we probably don't need it anyways, right? So that way we could see the wonderful glitch on the wall where it makes little trash can glitchy things. That's kind of fun. Or we could leave it on this mission and we could just run it with a little glare in the screen. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But one way or another, it's going to be the same 35-mile distance. And in case you want to know by the itinerary, we got to be there by 1:11 and 20 seconds. The challenge is stopping at the other end. If you watched the last episode, you wouldn't probably know because I freaked out. It was only 25 yards away, whatever it is. I feel like it was 25 meters, but I freaked out, man. And I was like, oh my God, I was going to go speed through that. I didn't want to kill my mission. I worked so hard to get to the other end. It's the worst thing about Train Sim because you could try to save and stuff, but it's just not going to do it for you. You know what I mean? Anyhow, so we're going to be transferring tracks like we did the last time, going all the way to the left more than likely and driving along the HST tracks from here to Reading. The trip itself will be mostly uneventful except for this usual speeding that I seem to do in the very beginning and sometimes at the other end. Last mission I was talking about the Rooster of the North getting converted to the Prince of Wales, a brand new steam locomotive. I had previously talked about the Tornado. Well, and I briefly mentioned the A1 Trust. The A1 Steam Locomotive Trust actually has been in operation for about 30 years now. So figure 2024, 2014, 2004, 1994 is roughly when the original thing operated. For some folks, it might be like, wow, that is an old company. For me, I'm like, wow, that wasn't all that long ago. You know, age, it makes a big difference, right? It's how it goes. Just like America, they had huge nostalgia for the old rails. They tried to save as many of the East Coast mainline locomotives, but all 49 of the Peppercorn A1s were scrapped in the 1960s. And this was what led to the A1 Steam Locomotive Trust being formed to fulfill the missing links for the scrapped A1 Peppercorn. By the late 1980s, almost everything that was possible could be possible that was done to preserve the steam locomotives had been done with new motion, driving wheels, cylinders, all being manufactured to try to bring these scrapped wrecks back to life in some fashion. And they recognized the next step was they just couldn't deal with scrap metal anymore. It just was impossible. They did what they could. The scrap metal wasn't getting any better. They could only save so many locomotives. In the end of the day, they decided, well, we're just going to build it from scratch and we're just going to start from the ground up and go with that. They started with just informal discussion. Think of just you going over to your friend's house, having some biscuits and tea and just saying, hey, you know what? We're having some issues with steam locomotive. We can't build anymore. I think we're maxed out on what we can do for rusted scrap metal. And so from there, their first official A1 Steam Locomotive Trust met on March 24th of 1990 to discuss the feasibility of building a replica Peppercorn A1 locomotive. This is how the Tornado came into being. From there, the first public meeting was held at the Railway Institute in York, not New York, but York. April 28th of 1990. At this time, the project comprised of just 5 people. The 5 people that got involved with this was a financial planning consultant, a teacher, a Newcastle solicitor, and the owner of the Black 5 number 44767, and the first chairman. Right, the first chairman was like the only one who had a real role. Everybody else came from like a background, and all the others eventually, one became the marketing and build plan person, the other one became the newsletter editor, another became the legal advisor, and the last one, the one that owned the Black 5, was the chief mechanical engineer. They decided to hold a formal launch meeting at the Railway Institute November 17th of 1990, and this led to them announcing that the one that's going to be called the Tornado is going to be the one designated 60163. The next sequence following 60162 isn't that so obvious. From the very beginning, they had to make some decisions. Funding would be a priority. You have to fund this if you're building this up from the ground up. What can you say, right? So funding the priority, trustees will be professionals in fields so that their work for the trust would be considered highest quality standard. They wanted to make sure that the people that were going to get involved with the A1 Trust were going to be, quality people building quality locomotives. So when you run it on the tracks, the train won't just fall off the tracks, parts won't fall off the train, all these other, usual problems, right? The other reason is you have to have certification, and the work being undertaken, the manufacture of the locomotive will be undertaken by the engineering industry. So they want to make sure that people had the right degrees and the right background to manage the engineering of these locomotives. You just can't just go off and just, 3D print whatever you want. It's not quite, yes you can, but it's not going to work to the same degree, you know what I mean? Therefore, it was based around 4 principles. The first, it would have to be run using the best business practices by people experienced in these business practices. Funding method would have to be as simple as possible, easy to understand, and afforded by anyone. This is where you got that pint of coffee, donate for a pint of coffee, you got this train modeled up, and we're ready to roll out. Bye, Networker Turbo. We're going to meet you guys on the other end. Hopefully I don't crash. Hopefully you guys don't have to worry about seeing a wreckage. Number 3, because of the challenge that they were faced, they had to be a single aim to focus, which is the project mission statement, the building and operation of an A1. That's essentially their original mission statement, the building and operation of an A1. And everything will be judged against that particular mission statement. So if you're going to say, well, we need a train whistle, well, it's based on the building and operation of an A1. Does A1 need a train whistle? Yes, it does. What kind of train whistle does it need? Building and operation of an A1. What kind of train whistle sound does it need? So on. And so everything's based on that one idea there. Number 4, the rules of the organization would prohibit cliques of any kind. So no like specialty Elon Musk, Bill Gates, or anything like that. Nobody can be like special socialites or anything like that. But at the same time, you can't just have a whole bunch of people homeless either. It's got to be a group of people willing to be dedicated for this engine line and willing to be dedicated for this train. Get off the line, lady. Everyone on the project will receive some level of recognition based on effort rather than size of checkbook. This means if I donated $1 million today, they won't recognize me because I was like zero effort to put in $1 million into the book. However, if I went over there and I took a wrench and I put together a bracket and I put it together myself and I did all the work to get that bracket from the table onto the engine, I'd probably get recognized for that small effort that I did. The trust had secured essentially a reputation for being supported by a range of specialists, enthusiasts from all sorts of walks of life, and this team and this principle is what led to the construction of the Tornado. And this also is the same principle, and this is the same team that is behind the building of the Prince of Wales that I mentioned in the last episode. Off the line, folks. So I noticed we got these interesting yellow lights up ahead too. We never did get to see what they were. I wasn't going fast enough to catch those yellow lights. I don't know what happened there, but they eventually just turned green. So I'm probably gonna have the same problem here too. I'm just going to roll through this for the next 3 miles and see what happens with these yellow lights. They're building the Prince of Wales, the Darlington Locomotive Works. The Locomotive Works is open to the public. I did not know this until I was like looking a little bit more in depth after the last episode ended. I'm like, oh my God, it's open. I wish I can go, but I'm not. I'm an American. I'm stuck here all the way on the side of the west coast of the United States. So it means a long trip to get over there to visit. The Darlington Works is open to the public on the first and third Saturday of each month between 10 o'clock in the morning to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Entry is actually free of charge, and everybody who is on this HST today is welcome to come along for the ride. view the progress being made on the P2 Prince of Wales, assuming that's what they're still working on today. If not, they're probably working on their third locomotive. Who knows what locomotives they're working on, but you can actually go there and see the progress being made in person and get like a little mini tour. And that is probably the best train spotting you could ever have. All right, I think I'm going to have to be all right. I don't know what's going on with that red light up ahead. I'm just kind of scared. It keeps going yellow, and I'm not having to worry about it. So as long as I stay roughly 125 miles an hour, I should be okay, and I shouldn't have to hit any of those red lights. I don't know if it's a network or turbo, or it's another HST in front of me. It's possible it's another HST. It is a busy day, you know. It's the middle of afternoon, so what can I say? It's all green. Yay, we can go again. Woo! 2015, the A1 Trust established contact with the Royal Navy. Yes, they reached out to the British Royal Navy. They inquired about affiliation with the second Queen Elizabeth class aircraft carrier that was currently under construction at the time in Ross. I think that's how you pronounce that, Ross. That's what it looks like, or Royce. You guys will have to correct me on this. Somebody from the UK, tell me how you pronounce Royce. I'll put it up there in the spelling. You guys can figure it out from there and tell me what it is. Anyways, contact was made through the Navy Regional Command, Northern England, and then in that city itself. Oh my God, I'm not going to be able to say it. The proposal was for an affiliation with the HMS Prince of Wales. Right, the HMS Prince of Wales was a British Royal Navy ship. This was eventually endorsed as a bond of friendship in 2016, and given the engineering focus of the activities that they were doing with the Prince of Wales, the train, they decided to develop the relationship with the department. The bond of friendship actually continued, and they invited the ship members to join them in Darlington for the annual convention in 2016. They hosted the lieutenant commander, the first lieutenant, and a lieutenant from the Marine Engineering Department. They briefed them about the charity, they briefed them about the plans for the P2, and they had them get to see the P2 in action in terms of it being produced and all that good stuff. But they also got a print of the P2 alongside the Tornado, and in return they received a ship's plaque that cemented the bond of friendship. The A1 Trust also visited the port in Liverpool, and they explained their links and how they were building a new locomotive, and they also supported STEM events. And so STEM, again, is your science, technology, engineering, and maths program. They hosted a STEM event for the Merseyside schools, with some of the team explaining the engineering activities and processes for building a steam locomotive, and they also showed live examples of 3D CAD. If you've never used the CAD program, those are essentially your program that you might use for manufacturing purposes. Really great computer program. I've actually used it before in the past, and it's really nifty to see how those programs work and how the programs interact and how you can manipulate things on that program. They're looking to host future visits by the ship's company to see the Prince of Wales under construction in Darlington. They're also going to want them to see the Tornado going heavy maintenance in Loughborough. Loughborough. Oh my God, folks. Again, UK folks, tell me how to pronounce Loughborough. They also got a chance to visit the Prince of Wales itself, not the train. The HMS Prince of Wales from the Royal Navy, and representatives from the A1 Steam Locomotive Trust were invited to visit in 2022, Tuesday, May 10th. They celebrated their bond of friendship aboard the carrier that essentially was being built. I believe at that point it was finally done. They had a safety brief from the lieutenant and were treated to a tour of the ship. They started from the control room. They looked at the HV power, fuel, freshwater, fire flood warning system, visited the aft engineering room to see the different generation plants that provide the power for the ship. They also looked at the propulsion system, and they looked at the hangar deck where aircraft and helicopters operated and were stored. They were able to actually walk all the way to the top of something called a ski ramp at the bow of the ship and look back and see the entire scale of the ship, which is pretty impressive to see. And this also included a visit, of course, to the bridge where the captain and the team maintained the operation of the ship, of course. What's cool about this, they were able to do a presentation on board the ship about the Prince of Wales, the train, as well as the Tornado, and essentially how far along in progress they've gotten. The A1 Trust offered a plaque, the Prince of Wales plaque, to the ship. They're going to actually mount this nameplate onto the ship itself on the bridge, and it's going to be a talking point for military personnel as they visit the ship. They're going to look at this plaque that says Prince of Wales, and everybody can have a nice little conversation about like where that even came from and why that's even there. So the last bit I never got into in the last episode is essentially construction began for the P2 back in 2014. The frame brakes didn't get rolled out until early 2014, around April. By July, the frames were delivered to Darlington. These are the frames I mentioned in the last episode that they had to do some redesigns for. By December of 2015, they started finally putting assembly together and building the train and the chimney and whatnot by 2016. By 2016, you also had the wheels all casted out and put together. And remember, those wheels now have bearing rollers in them rather than the traditional wheels. A 150,000 pound order had to be done for the locomotive tender frames. The tender frames ended up costing quite a bit of money to get that one established. The wheel set took, oh my god, the wheel set took literally 2 years to put the wheel set together, from casting the wheels to delivering the wheels to putting them together and having them connected from point A to point B on both sides of the rail. The cladding was officially fitted to the frame by 2018. In September 2018, the orders were placed for the boiler and the electrical system, which costed 350,000 pounds. By that time of 2018 rolled around, the train was actually getting a fresh coat of primer paint, I guess you can say. By June 2021, 261,000 pounds were ordered for the cylinder block, and not pound, but money. Were ordered for the cylinder block, and this is essentially where they left off. There's nothing for 2022, 2023, 2024, so we don't actually know, unless you go and visit in person, you won't actually know what the Prince of Wales has left to build. All we know is it's supposed to be completed by 2025. And with that said, it is time to stop our train. We're going to have to go down to 95, so we're going to hit throttle, essentially train brake 1 to get ourselves down. We've already cut our throttle. It's time to slow it down, probably a lot more than this, because I see the 95 zone coming up, and we got to stop much better than we did last time. Hopefully we'll try to make a little bit better stop than screaming our heads off once we get there. We're going to be speeding. Oh no, this sucks. Well, we got, oh, I didn't get the speed. Yes, I did it. That's good. Well, we're just going to keep dropping down until we get down to 60, because we know we're going to have to go down to 60 miles an hour. We're going to have to press Q a couple times and manage this as best we can for the next mile. All right, I kept myself on train brake number 2. The train brake actually hasn't changed yet. It's pretty much set at train brake 2, and I think I can make this going down to 60, and the next stop is going to be 30 zone, so I'm just going to nice and easy coast my way down to 30 miles an hour, and I don't want to get that darn thing to slow me off. It would suck if I got an emergency brake right at the last minute. It's not so bad. I'm already past the AB score anyway, so it's not a big deal there. We're going to go back to train brake 2. Last time what I did is I went down to 10 miles an hour. That was fine and dandy. There was nothing wrong with that. Just the fact of the matter is that stop was just crazy, man. So we're going to wait to 500 yards, then we're going to put train brake 1 back on, and we're going to go down to at least 15 miles an hour, and then we're going to kind of coast along at 15 miles an hour. We're going to go ahead and go back to running brakes, and we have 2 minutes now to make our stop, and for some reason I feel like I'm going to be late this time. Let's put train brake 1 back on. We're going to get ourselves slowed down under 10 this time, under 10, and we're going to go back to running, and we're just going to coast along as best we can until we can get to the other end. This will do. This will be good enough. We might even have to put some throttle up here just for a minute here because we're going a little slow. All right, I'm holding at 7.6 miles an hour. This is good enough for me. The AWS is going to go off, and I'm going to get a little distracted by that, and I don't want to have to get distracted by that too much. We're going to bump the little train brake just a touch to get myself back down to 5 miles an hour because I see the limit coming up. You can see I was only like five yards away from that single last time. That was just so scary, man. Come on, train, slow down some more, please. Maybe I'll get lucky and I can stop like perfectly. Who knows? We'll see how this goes. 60 yards to our stop, 5 miles an hour, and 2 little blocks left. And we're going to try to get this in a nice coasting stop if we can. Bump that down a little bit more. If I stop early, I stop early. I'm not going to panic. At least I'm not going to go driving through like I was about to do last time. Although this is starting to scare me right here. 15 yards left, 3 miles. Let's go. Let's go. Come on, train. Come on, train. You can do it. 1 mile. 1 mile. We stopped. Yay, we did it this time. We got a perfect stop. Yay. We're going to go ahead and do the DRA. We're going to unlock the left doors. We're a little early. We're going to set our parking brake. And we're just going to go outside to camera 8. You can see how much better this stop is compared to the last episode. That was a much better stop. It helps to have some driving practice so you're not screaming off the top of your head about crashing your train. Okay, folks, this is hilarious. Not just the fact that there's people beaming in on me here, but do you see that door? Look at this. This is the camera. Oh gosh, the camera got glitched out again. Wait a minute, come back. This is on camera 8, folks. This is on camera 8. Move, dude. Come on, okay, I'll do it on this side then. Anyways, so what the heck? I'm trying to show you guys something. Well, there we go. We'll just go to the next car then. Oh, come on. Okay, here we go. Finally, a new car. So this is on camera 8, folks. You do this, the doors actually open with camera 8. That's actually kind of cool. You can't go in that car, but there was one car where they were able to go into. It was actually this one here, because this one here, I'm able to go into the car with camera 8. I could see all these folks in here, and then I can go right into that other door, and it will open. That was super cool. Who knew that could happen? Anyways, blocking the doors and calling it a day. There we go. Their doors are closed. We're watching the mission end, and that was a weird, glitchy way to end the mission there. Beating minus 65. I did better this time. Anyhow, Platinum Medal. If you liked this episode, please definitely like and subscribe. Leave me a comment. This was actually not bad. I think I did better in this episode than I did in the last one. Not just so much in terms of stopping, but in terms of drive time. That was fantastic. Our next mission is going to be an aggregate mission. I can't wait to finally get back into the sheds. I feel like those are like the best missions, the Great Western Express. I don't know. Maybe it's because there's no timer or anything like that. I'm kind of interested in seeing what I get to do with the shed. Anyhow, like I said, like, subscribe, leave me comments, and we will catch you in the next episode. Stay tuned, folks. Bye. I'm going to coast at 13 miles an hour, and maybe not. We're going to be dropping down a little bit more. We're going to have to put a little bit of a throttle to keep me moving. Throttle 3 is the one that gets me going, right? It was throttle 3, right? It should be throttle. There it goes. There. No. Throttle 3. Go faster, please. What in the world? I've got, like, there's a UFO here.